minus 9 minutes. Minus 8 minutes. Minus 7 minutes. Minus 6 minutes. Minus 5 minutes. minus 3 minutes. T minus 2 minutes. T minus 1 minute. Stand by.
How about that?
To quote the late, great Venus flytrap, and we're off. It's the RP show. I'm going to tell you, I enjoy these shows where I'm solo, but these are better because they're a lot easier. Because Kevin the Medium's joining me in moments from the Hughes Sports Podcast. I don't need to do nearly as much preparation. We just let it roll. Game night in the Canadian Football League. Week 11 kicks off. They're saying the NFL preseason kicks off in earnest. Remember Ernest? Hey, Vern. Where did Ernest go? Do you remember Ernest? I love that guy. Hey, Vern.
That was the Vern beer. That was the greatest commercial ever.
I know. Ernest goes to camp. Where'd that guy go? And by the way, NFL, as I say, kicks off in earnest tonight with, I think it's a half a dozen games. We've got a lot of talk about that. Henry Burris coming up in hour 2, Hall of Fame quarterback. And from NFL radio now, Henry Burris will be with us. All right, Kev, I'm going to get down to business. A lot of people showed up here today wanting to talk CFL football. As you know, your team, I'm a little surprised you're not wearing BC Lions garb. They're at Calgary in the game of the week.
Saving it for game time. It's waiting. I'm choosing between two jerseys. I probably put the black one on, but we're calm. We're cool. This is we're going to win.
You can't BS a BSer, Kev. Just so you know. Jeff the Stamps fan writes in, he says, hit him again, ye men of Calgary. Go Stamps. Listen, I got so much to get to. I need to calm myself. You're calm. I need a little more of your energy. I'm fired up for the game tonight. And hang on. Right out of the whole thing, the poll question here tonight is what are you going to be watching tonight? It's brought to you by EMJ Marketing. CFL, NFL, both or neither. And for me, it's a big ol' both, because the Las Vegas Raiders are home tonight to the Arizona Cardinals. Lions Stampeders tonight at McMahon. So I read some game notes. I can get to those, but you're kind of the guest here. What's your knowledge, your prep, your thoughts on the game tonight? BC Lions at Calgary Stampeders. Big game in the West.
Big game. I think big game for both teams. I don't want to say it's a must-win for either team, but it really is. The way this season's going, if BC's able to pull this one out and hand Calgary their second loss in a row, that really puts them behind the 8 ball. On the other hand, if VA comes out and plays the way he can and destroys us, then we, the BC Lions, are behind the 8 ball. So yeah, it's a big game. Vancouver, BC holds a better record against the Stamps over the years. So I'm going with that. I'm going with the fact that.
I'm writing down all the game. I should have done it before, but I've been talking about it every day all week because it's summertime. We're into it. And I'll be perfectly honest with you. I was laughing earlier here since we've been on the air to myself. We went last night to the Crush Can Rec Room nightclub to watch the baseball game, our Moose Jaw Miller Express at the Saskatoon Berries. We lost. Congratulations, Berries. On to the league final they go. But there was a guy at the next table. This will not surprise you now. He might be watching right now, Kev. His name's Josh. Stuck his hand out. He's like, Rod Pedersen. In the flesh, yes. He came to watch the ball game too, but just a long time sports fan here in Moose Jaw. And over the course of the night, he's like, "What do you think about the Rough Riders?" I'm like, "I don't." This won't surprise you either. But he just looked at me just so. What do you mean you don't? I said, "I don't think about them." So I don't. But I'm a fan of the whole league, and that has allowed me to be so fired up for the Calgary BC game tonight. Not gonna lie. I mean, the BC. We'll never forget they did start 1-5. I'm excited about all the games, but tonight it's this one. And come on, Calgary fans, tell me that there's not a little bit of Jekyll and Hyde here with Vernon Adams. And the other thing is, has VA not addressed his angst at wanting to beat the brakes off BC? He didn't really talk about it, that he was shown the door. He has never really talked about it, which probably is a good thing.
He's too classy to go there. I think there's a little bit of a chip on his shoulder more than on Rourke. But these are the two quarterbacks that you kind of go, which one should we have kept? Obviously, there was no choice. We're keeping Rourke. But that doesn't take anything away from VA. I think he's one of the best to ever play the game. So
is it that obvious? Is it that obvious? Is it that obvious? I heard that they were booing Nathan Rourke in BC Place. I didn't see that because I don't have the sound up on the games, but did you hear this?
No.
Okay.
And I know there was a guest on your show saying he's not the player that he was. Come on.
Yeah, Mike Richards.
Yes. These QB receivers haven't had more than 2 games in a row that they've been able to get that chemistry back. Receivers were hurt, then quarterback was hurt. We're getting things rolling now. I think we're going to surprise a lot of people going down this final half of the season.
I hope so. I'm a Lions backer. Isn't that the name of the fan club, the Lion Backers? I think that is. Yeah. Vancouver Eric writes and he says, "Roar, you Lions, roar." And he says, "Fake news, Rod." Vancouver Eric says, "Fake. You are fake news." Okay, I'm just saying that's what I heard. I don't know. I don't turn the sound up. I know that blows everybody's mind. And that's not in any of the games, except for baseball, because I really love the Blue Jays broadcasts.
So good.
Producer Corey says, yeah, Jim Varney passed away in 2000. It's too bad. That's the, hey, Vern. Because how often you have these moments where you just sit down and go, how old am I? 26 years since Jim Varney died? Ernest Goes to Camp. I used to say they should, Vern's Pizza. Have you had that yet since you've been in Saskatchewan? Vern's Pizza?
No.
Very underrated pizza. Very underrated. We have the best pizza in the world right here in the rectangle, and Vern's Pizza never gets mentioned with the greats, and it should. Mad Greek, Western Pizza, all of those, they're amazing. But Vern, and I always thought they should go pay Jim Varney. Hey, Vern, got some pizza? Like, it would have been Vern's Pizza. It's fantastic. By the way, speaking in Sask, where did you get those orange goggles that you're wearing? Did you bring them from BC, or did you buy the orange goggles at the co-op? I didn't even know they sold orange goggles at the co-op where you live.
No orange goggles. I'm going into
give
this game.
me a break. Don't even start, man. What I say, don't BS a BSer. You, sir, get up and go for a walk and come back and quit trying to pull my leg today, because it's not going to happen. Oh, and by the way, Chad Kelly has never lost to the Edmonton Elkamos. He's never lost to them. So I want you all to mull that over. We have a lot to get to. This is the warm-up for Uniglobe Carefree Travel in Vancouver. And let's get the we'll be right back after this.
In today's fast-paced world, we know you don't always have time to cook a nutritious meal. The Mad Greek in Moose Jaw's got you covered with delicious takeout and delivery specials, even for large groups or occasions. Authentic Greek cuisine, pizza, ribs, and more. There's something for everyone to enjoy. Offering licensed dining, delivery, and their takeout window is open to get your Greek to go. For more information and to view the online menu, visit themadgreekeatery.com.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge. Big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
In today's fast-paced world, we know you don't always have time to cook a nutritious meal. The Mad Greek in Moose Jaw's got you covered with delicious takeout and delivery specials, even for large groups or occasions. Authentic Greek cuisine, pizza, ribs, and more. There's something for everyone to enjoy. Offering licensed dining, delivery, and their takeout window is open to get your Greek to go. For more information and to view the online menu, visit themadgreekeatery.com.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with The Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away. ultimatefanzone.ca or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection, booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Well, if I do say so myself, the start of the show has just been incredible. The warm-up is brought to you by Uniglobe Carefree Travel. Join CFL legends Adam Bighill, Willie Jefferson, Jake Seresna, and Kevin the Medium on the cruise of a lifetime for CFL fans. 7 days out of Port of Fort Lauderdale, February 20th. Prices from $18.99. Cruise only. The ultimate chance of a lifetime for CFL fans. Contact Neil Chark at Uniglobe Travel, Neil at uniglobecarefree.ca. There will be no more talk of Vern's Pizza here today until they advertise with us. I will just say that Vintage Sasko has written in and says Vern's Pizza is so thick they send 3 people when they deliver it. But we advocate Mad Greek. Mad Greek is the place to go for your pizza. I was just there with their Scruffy yesterday. It was such a great time. And Rob from Las Vegas writes in. He says, will we see Fernando Mendoza play for the Raiders and Nathan Rourke play for the he says Rourke. He meant Curtis Rourke for the 49ers tonight. Hang on. We haven't got to the NFL just yet. We'll see them probably. But I've got all the listed starters for tonight's NFL games. And for the Raiders tonight, Kirk Cousins is going to start and Mac Jones is going to start in their game for the 49ers. So, no. Anyways, somebody wrote in here. I know it was Vintage Sasko. He says, it's supposed to be rainy tonight in Calgary. Have you checked the forecast, Kev? He says, who is that going to favor? You looked at the conditions?
I did, and there's a chance that a storm could roll through. I think it favors the Lions with both Butler and Horvath. The running game definitely favors the Lions. I know Jeff, the Stans fan, isn't going to like that, but it's the truth.
You have your orange goggles. He has his red goggles. You guys all need to understand. And I had green goggles. I thought they were welded to my head, but I realized that they can be removed. You guys just don't want to remove yours, and that's totally fine. Nobody's asking you to. 902-518-3033. I need to get out of the pizza talk here. But I read all the game notes before the game. You mentioned the ground game favoring BC. Xander Horvath has scored 5 touchdowns the last 2 games. So, insane. Yeah, I mean, this just one more on this game tonight. BC Calgary, you got BC to win. Shocking. The guy with the Lou Pasaglia stand-up behind him picks BC to win. Perfect. That's another one. Do you follow the BC Lions alumni on Instagram by chance?
I think I do.
Okay. Well, they had a post yesterday. They had their golf tournament yesterday. And there was a video of Lou Pasaglia walking up to the tent where they were doing the things at the golf tournament. And his hair was like white, and white mustache. And I'm like, again, we're all getting old. That's why. Yeah, go ahead.
Actually saw that video and I was like, holy crap. What? Like, where did the years go?
I know. And I say it all the time because I said to John Frenzy, the Hall of Fame writer, broadcaster, I said to Scruffy over lunch yesterday, I said, there should be a statue of that man somewhere in Regina, John Frenzy. But when he was alive, I said, Frenzy, have you ever had it where the years just whiz by like in a blink? He says, wait till it becomes decades. That happens. And I'm like, I can wait for that. Okay. You got BC. I actually have Calgary to win tonight. I don't really know why because they didn't look very good in Toronto last week. No. Ottawa at Winnipeg. We'll move on here to the other games. Picks for Pump Jacks. If you're watching these games, they always welcome you down to watch the Riders home or away. Pump Jacks Cathedral, Pump Jacks Weyburn. Come early, stay late at the place where friends meet. We all think and have Winnipeg to beat Ottawa, of course. But if you're Ottawa, you're thinking this is a game we might be able to win. What are they, 1-4 at Princess Stadium? Like, what are the chances that Ottawa wins their first game there?
Oh, the same chances as I have to be running a marathon tomorrow. Not a whole lot.
That's a good one.
Caleris is back. I think this one is going to be a complete motorboating. I don't know what's going on in Ottawa. It's just they had over 300 yards total offense in the last game, but they seem to get to that 20-yard line and self-destruct. I've never seen a team so bad inside the red zone. I don't know what it is. It's bizarre.
It's quite interesting you say that because When I have the football guys on, and I guess if the football guys think I'm a football guy, which is they say, I guess I can include myself in that, but I don't go to myself for any advice on football. But they all talk about quarterback play when it comes to making picks in games. Quarterback. Jake Mayer is my point here. He's averaged 323 yards passing, I think, each of the last 4 games. He's not the problem. And the scary thing for Ottawa is this. Any really good football man that I've found can look at a team within 5 minutes and say, that's the problem. And nobody's been able to do that with Ottawa. I don't know. And the other thing is I don't think they know internally, because if they knew, they'd fix it. They just keep firing coaches, getting rid of players. Where does it end, Kev? Where does it? Henry Burris will address it next hour. I'm interested to see what he has to say.
I think it's literally in their heads. And we've seen it. I mean, sports is a big part of sports is mental game. And I think mentally they are trying not to lose rather than trying to win. And when you do that, you can go to any sport. When you're trying to not lose, guess what? You usually end up shooting yourself in the foot. So I, like all your experts, this fan is sitting here going, I don't got a clue. I've been watching football for 50 plus years now, and I've not seen anything like it. It's bizarre to me.
No, and Scott in Vancouver writes that he says the offensive line is brutal, and it is brutal. But it was brutal last year. We could see that. Drew Brown was running for his life. He had his head taken off in the one game that actually sat down and watched all 60 minutes of action. I mean, that nothing was done there to fix it. So, yeah, it's funny because who the heck is it? John says, don't be so sure, Kevin. I'm picking Ottawa. You go ahead, but I think you pick Ottawa at your own peril. Again, they're going to win a game at some point, but I don't know when that would be because Winnipeg is still better. Everybody's better. Remember Steve Barato? You were living in Vancouver when Steve Barato was the coach of the BC Lions. I love that guy. Yes. And I remember one time he said in a scrum media, J. Paul McConnell was standing right beside me, Kev, if that gives you tingles. And Steve Barato says, there's no lonelier place on earth than being the head coach of a bad football team. Oh. And he just stared like straight ahead. I'm like, you poor guy. I felt so bad for him.
It's got to be the worst thing, especially when you're looking at it going, on paper, this shouldn't be happening. Like, we have the team. Someone said the offensive line. How do you blame the offensive line when you're tossing for over 300 yards? They're doing something right. It just doesn't make sense. And you can look at all the film and everything else and you'd still shake your head.
Pause for the cause, but here's an old-time BC Lions CFL radio story for you. I want to say it was 01. Steve Barato was the head coach of the 2000 Grey Cup champion BC Lions. I think it was the next year, maybe 02. I can't remember when Barato left. But we're in the Surrey, BC Lions facility, day before the game, news conferences. And I'm just sitting on a table. I'm always around, as you know, or I was. And J. Paul McConnell, the Hall of Fame voice of the BC Lions, is interviewing Steve Barato for the pregame show. And he says, Coach, you're the home team today at BC Place, but today you're playing Canada's team, the Saskatchewan Roughriders. You'll be the road team in your own stadium. How does that feel to be taking on the beloved team from coast to coast, the Saskatchewan Roughriders? And I'm like, I like that. And we were terrible. We were awful that year. I think we were 6-12-1 or something, or whatever the hell the math adds up to. But that's where the Canada's team slogan was born. J. Paul McConnell interviewing Steve Barato, and I just was eavesdropping. And I'm like, oh my God, we need to use that because we're terrible. We're the worst team in the league. We're not selling any tickets, but we're Canada's team. They're saying it. And that's where that all started. So anyways, so Saturday, doubleheader, Toronto at Edmonton. You would have made your picks last night on the Hughes Sports podcast. Who do you like? Toronto at the Edmonton Elkamos.
You know, I went back and forth on this one, knowing that Kelly hasn't lost to the Elkamos.
Oh, you knew that?
Yes, I did. I also read the game notes.
Oh, nice.
You know what? I took Edmonton. I can't. I just feel that loss to Montreal is going to light a bit of a fire under Mr. Fajardo, and we're going to see him take it to a different level again. So yeah, I think I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to stick with Edmonton.
Moi aussi. That's French for me too. Me also. Kevin for the Elkamos, and everybody's got the Riders to beat Hamilton. By the way, Jeff the Stamps fan says, a slogan in your own minds. Of all the teams that were pissed off by that Canada's team slogan, I take great glee in the fact that Calgary Stampeders were the most pissed off by it. And it reminds me, frankly, 25 years later, down in South Florida with my Cats and Bolts podcast, I call it Florida's most watched show. Hockey show? I don't know whether it is or I don't know. And it pisses off a lot of the other shows. I mean, I just thought of it first. So I'm just glad, Jeff, that sticks in your craw. Go ahead, Kev.
Well, the reason it sticks in Calgary's craw, and any Stamps fan will know, especially a season ticket holder, when the Riders come to town, they took over that stadium. I used to be able to sell my season tickets for triple the face value to any Rider fan because it was in demand. They filled that stadium. So yeah, you can say what you want, but the Riders draw, even in BC, I remember as a young adult, used to hate when the Riders came to town because there was just as many Rider fans as there was Lions fans.
I'll say this now to Jeff the Stamps fan and all and sundry, but I might as well be talking to that wall. But the fact that it pisses you off so much, Jeff, makes it so much more satisfying for us. So keep it up. From the audience, as we sprinkle in viewer comments, a few things. Jeremy in Winnipeg writes that he says, how about the NFL Hall of Fame game having 7 million audience? NFL is king. Sure, thanks. We'll be talking about it later. We talk CFL in hour 1, especially in season. Rob from Las Vegas, who's a Blue Bomber fan, says must win game number 2 for the Bombers, which here's another one. If I'll say it, but I might as well talk to the wall. You don't ever hear me say must win, the term. I don't. Because Danny Barrett said to me 20 years ago, it's not must win until if you lose, your season's over. If you're facing elimination. I mean, we were guilty of it last week. I'm not a Bomber fan. I'm not a Lions fan. But everybody said must-win game for both teams, Winnipeg and BC. Well, Bombers lost, and they're still in a playoff spot. So was it? Is this? Like, I'm nothing against Rob. He's a great guy. But I really, we should listen to these hallowed sports figures because they kind of know what they're talking about. The term must-win is thrown around way too much.
I totally agree, and I'm guilty of it. But as a fan, you're like, oh gosh, if we don't win this game, so it becomes a must win. It's not really a must win until, like you say, it's either a playoff game, one and done, or you're facing elimination from the playoffs.
Well, I'll tell you something. About Danny Barrett, by the way. We got just a minute, a little over. For whatever reason, he gets so much crap. I think people are just jealous of him. But listen, I was going through a divorce. My daughter was like 3. And Danny Barrett called me into his office. It was, you know what it's like after school, pick daycare, all the rest. Danny goes, I've been through the exact same thing as you. So you do whatever you have to do for that little girl. I got you. If you got to miss practice, miss a news conference, whatever you need, you take care of that little girl's needs. I got you, whatever you need. You don't forget conversations like that.
No.
With Danny Barrett. You know what I mean? And yeah.
Those are the ones that just stick with you for life. And obviously that was years ago, and you still can probably hear that message in your head.
I still remember the look in his eyes. By the way, John in Winnipeg says, Jeff and many more make this show awesomeness. Oh, I know. We're all a big family here. It's why we call them the Rod Squad. We'll be right back on the RP Show.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly, we built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away, ultimatefanzone.ca, or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
In today's fast-paced world, we know you don't always have time to cook a nutritious meal. The Mad Greek in Moose Jaw's got you covered with delicious takeout and delivery specials, even for large groups or occasions. Authentic Greek cuisine, pizza, ribs, and more. There's something for everyone to enjoy. Offering licensed dining, delivery, and their takeout window is open to get your Greek to go. For more information and to view the online menu, visit themadgreekeatery.com.
Dean, Brody, and the Wreck Loss teaming up for the Hometown Heroes Tour.
If there's work, you know I'm gonna work.
Live at Temple Garden Center, November 9th.
Can't blame nobody else. I can't help myself.
Two of Canada's biggest country acts. One stage, one unforgettable night on the Hometown Heroes Tour. Tickets on sale now at the Temple Garden Center box office or online at saskpix.ca.
In today's fast-paced world, we know you don't always have time to cook a nutritious meal. The Mad Greek in Moose Jaw's got you covered with delicious takeout and delivery specials, even for large groups or occasions. Authentic Greek cuisine, pizza, ribs, and more. There's something for everyone to enjoy. Offering licensed dining, delivery, and their takeout window is open to get your Greek to go. For more information and to view the online menu, visit themadgreekeatery.com.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
All right, welcome back. We're having a lot of fun today. We always do. Jeremy from Winnipeg, I enjoy your punchy attitude. Kansas City Chiefs fan, Detroit Red Wings fan, too. He says, as a Chiefs fan and you wearing a Raiders hoodie, I will not follow the rules. Haha. They're not rules. They're loose guidelines. Hour one, Canadian sports. Hour two, U.S. sports. But the NFL's kind of a Canadian sport. But what I will tell you is there's not a lot of people talking CFL right now across this country, which is a crime. We do. We love it. You can talk about the NFL all you want, but we're going to talk CFL here because we're big fans. We've gone through all of the games. And before we go any further, Kev, you wanted to mention something about John McKeechee. Speaking of iconic Vancouver media figures.
Yes, the sudden passing of John McKeechee yesterday, it shook me. It was funny. I was talking to Jake about this on our show last night, and he doesn't remember McKeechee. And I was like, how can you not remember McKeechee? And I'm like, right, you're only 32. Really, if anybody's over 40, they grew up listening to that voice. It's one of those voices similar to somebody in Saskatchewan hearing your voice, they think sports. For us old BC guys, you hear McKeechee's voice, and it's just one of those iconic voices where you go, wow.
Yeah, and I met John in my time traveling out there, obviously for games and classy. There's a lot of those big Jim Robson, legendary voice, Jim Houston, for the love of God, John Ashbridge, who we talked about earlier. Ho, 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 CKNW Morning News.
Yes.
Vintage Sasko writes in, he says, I'd like to personally thank the Mad Greek for sponsoring this program. Can I just say, yesterday, near the end of the show, somebody was banging on the glass here right in front of me. I look, giving me the finger, and it was Scruffy, surprising me and wanting to go for lunch. He wanted to go to the Mad Greek. He and the Mad Greek, Johnny Iatrides, sat there and talked junior hockey and NHL hockey. They would still be sitting there. I'm like, guys, we got to go. That's the one thing about Moose Jaw. It's hockey, hockey, hockey. Celebrini, Bedard, the juniors, this, just on and on. It was great. It was great. The Mad Greek enjoyed that yesterday, Johnny. And thank you, Scruffy, for coming over and surprising me. Listen, what do we say here? If you don't like what we're talking about, wait 2 minutes. We'll talk about something else. We've been talking CFL for 32 minutes. Point 2, Kazuma Okamoto singled home Vladdy for the go-ahead run in the bottom of the 8th inning before the floodgates open as the Blue Jays top the Boston Red Sox 6-4 for their third straight victory Wednesday. A word on the Blue Jays, Kev. You have not given up. I have given up on them, but that's okay. You have not.
I have not given up on them. They are playing some kind of special ball right now. If you go back to when they really turned it around last year, which was way earlier in the season than this year, it's kind of the same feel. Yeah, yep. You look at that dugout, you look at the looks on those players' eyes. They sure heck haven't given up. So I'm crossing my fingers. I know there's only about an 8% chance. They're only a game and a half, 2 games out. So there's still hope. And when there's hope, there's a chance.
You know me well. And I love every moment of every day. I shouldn't even be alive. So I'm looking forward to getting home to South Florida, but I'm loving every moment here. I really am. And I love the fact that the games come on at 5:07 p.m. Mountain. So I can, before I headed out to go watch the Miller game last night at the Crush Can Rec Room, I'm watching the Jays game. And Dan Shillman saying, you obviously were watching it too. What I'm saying is the game starts so late on the East Coast, it's brutal. I'm getting my internal clock to get caught up to that. But it's not good as this. And Shulman's like, the feeling around the team is so much lighter. This is the reporter and me going, why wasn't it light before? Whose fault was that? And maybe it wasn't any individual players. I immediately think, was it Dalton Varsho? Was it Kevin Gosman? We love those guys. I think it's that the pressure was lifted.
Yeah.
There's no expectations on them now. That's got to be what it is.
You've seen, I'm a Canuck fan, so I've seen this year after year after year. At the end of the season, they go on a winning streak because they don't care anymore and they're just having fun.
Nice call by you. Nice notice by you. Point 3, you brought this up. I wasn't going to talk about it with you, but an independent appeal board has ruled that 5 players from Canada's 2018 World Junior team acquitted last year of sexual assault breached the Hockey Canada Code of Conduct. Hockey Canada said in a release Wednesday that it accepted the board's recommendation, continued suspensions, and reinstatement dates for Alex Formanton, Cal Foote, Carter Hart, Dylan Dubé, and Michael McLeod. We all know the story. I'm surprised, frankly, that you wanted to talk about it. I was going to get to it later. I was going to talk about it, but you have thoughts on this. It came up last night, of course, as with my gang that I was hanging out with. You guys were talking about it too.
We were talking about it on our show, and this is, and I'm going to steal your words, this is Hockey Canada flexing. Nothing more. It's toothless. It means nothing, folks. Absolutely nothing. It's all about, hey, we have to look good. We have to change the look of Hockey Canada because we got kind of a stain on us. So we need to do something to take that stain away. Sorry, this doesn't help. This is just, I'm not going to use the word because I got in trouble for using the word yesterday. So it's dumb. It's just dumb.
Well, you said woke. Actually, I think you said effing woke. But by the way, I didn't use the term flexing. I used the term puffing their chest out. But same thing. I said this is Hockey Canada, puffing their chest out. But that's I don't think anybody's fooled by this. You weren't fooled by this, but you've been around the sun a few times, like me, or the sun's been around us, however that goes. And yeah, it's like Geno Lewis being cut by the Ottawa Redblacks. He wasn't a fit with us. If I was Geno, I'd be saying, good, you're 0-8. I don't want to be a fit with you. It's like Carter Hart. You're suspended. You can't play for us till the 2027. I didn't want to. I wasn't going to play for you again. So we're good. But that's just sports now. It sucks, but that's that. Another one is this. Is your eye on this since it's the Canadian Hour? The Winnipeg Sea Bears and Brampton Honey Badgers opened Game 1 at Brampton CAA Center on Wednesday, but play was suspended early in the first period due to condensation on the court. The league says the CEBL championship will now be decided in a single-game showdown to be held in Winnipeg on Saturday. What's your everybody seems to have an opinion on this, which kind of surprised me a little bit, but what's yours?
I read that and I was like, how do you get condensation on a basketball court? This is kind of weird, but it's changing the playoff structure midstream. It made me shake my head. I'm sure if I was a fan of either team, I'd be like, what the 1 and out? Come on. That's not the way it's supposed to be. It's bizarre to me.
Well, I'll tell you what. I do a show on a basketball court every single day. And let me tell you something. There's gigantic fans here that I have to unplug to go on the air because they're so loud. So the fact that there is condensation on a hardwood basketball court doesn't surprise me at all. I think the people at the CAA Center have some egg on their face, how they allowed this to happen. But, I mean, I guess more than anything, it's this era. People are going to have an opinion. People were standing there just going, how bad does this make the CEBL look? I said, it doesn't really make the league look bad. It makes the facility look bad. I will say that. And them changing the rules on the fly wouldn't be the first league to do that either. But like anything, everybody has a big opinion on this. BBBB. Rob in Vegas writes in and says, Jays are finding ways to win. Ken in Mississauga writes in. He says, the Argos won both games in which Chad Kelly had 4 interceptions. Had this talk earlier with Kirk from Toronto earlier this week, and he's actually writing, and he thinks you're wearing Argo blue. Are you wearing Argo blue? Is that what you're wearing? Oh, Seahawks blue. Close. Okay, Seahawks not playing tonight in the National Football League preseason, but hey, in the less than 2 minutes, we have 90 seconds left. Chad Kelly's interceptions. Would you be concerned about that if you were an Argo fan?
Well, I mean, if you're micro looking at each game, yeah, he threw 4 interceptions in one game. Not a good look. That game, Jake and I said neither team wanted to win that game. They were trying to let the other team win. But when you look at the big picture with Kelly, and I commented, I think it was yesterday on your show, it's like Babe Ruth. He struck out more times than anybody else in the league, right. But he also hit more home runs than anybody else in the league. Kelly will throw interceptions. He's throwing the ball more than anybody else, so he's going to throw more interceptions. Is it going to cost him games? Yes, it will. In the big picture, will it turn to his favor? Yeah, because he's throwing the ball that much.
Kev, this has been awesome. Do you want to do it again tomorrow? Or are you available?
For you, I can make myself available.
Okay, same time, same bat station. Kevin Medium and I will be back. Well, I'm not going anywhere, but Kev is going to do whatever they do in Maple Creek in the after. What do you do? Chase squirrels? Shoot cans? What do you do?
I am 1 o'clock this afternoon. I'm watching the Blue Jays game, and then I'm going to watch the BC Lions game. Come on.
Oh, what a great day. Enjoy it. We'll be right back on the RP Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Okay, everybody, it's open line until the top of the hour. Brendan in Regina, hello. Brendan Mans, by the way, are you in Regina? Please let me know. You said the nice thing the other day about the pioneering coverage from yours truly, and I appreciated that. I should know exactly where. I know you're in Saskatchewan, but where? He writes that, he says, as you pointed out yesterday, Rod, the top Hall of Famers also lead the league in interceptions. Can I talk about that for a sec? Jason from Red Deer also says, when you throw that many passes, you're going to throw some picks unless you're Davis Alexander and VA, LOL. Chad Kelly has something those guys don't have, and that is a Grey Cup ring. I will say that. That was not as a starter, but as you know, he came off the bench in, 2022? The Coupe de Grey in Saskatchewan. I'm getting people sending me all kinds of CFL content from, as they say now, creators. Have you all, I don't know if you're paying attention to this, because you're not a writer anymore, you're not a broadcaster anymore, you're not even an influencer anymore, you're a creator. So a lot of football guys are like, what do you think of this guy? What do you think of that guy? What do you think of that? They're jumping in front of cameras and the fancy backgrounds. I'm pretty sure if you put a gun to their head, they couldn't tell you who was the interceptions leader all time in the Canadian Football League. So that's the difference between them and me. You can get, it's all cool. We all do different things. That's all. And that's why I brought up yesterday when Kirk from Toronto was all worked up about Chad Kelly's interceptions. I'm like, Rod Lancaster, last I checked, leads the CFL interceptions career. And the guys all looked at me. Not only him, Ronnie, Danny Mack, Damon Allen, Henry Burris, all those guys. You would think, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking the top 5 list of interception throwers in CFL history would be a bunch of Rudy Poos, right? Wrong. They're all Hall of Famers. So I guess that's the point, is why you are all here. You can be, and I like those guys. They're trying to do a good thing. They're entertaining. But it's just different than what I do. And there's room for all of us. There's room for all of us. I guess is the point as I land the plane here. Regarding the Canadian Elite Basketball League shrinking the league final from a best of 3 to a best of 1 because of court condensation in Brampton. Rob from Vegas, if you don't mind me calling you that, Rob, because I know you don't live there anymore, he writes in, he says, typically condensation forms on a basketball court laid over an active hockey rink. Not sure if that was the case. Well, I don't hear these guys freak out at this place if I don't plug these fans back in after the show. There are gigantic fans that I have to unplug to go on the air because they're so, like yesterday, producer Corey was like, what is that? I'm like, that's the fan, I'll unplug it. That's how loud it is. And there's no hockey. I don't think there's a hockey rink under this. Wouldn't that be something if there was? Ta-da! So, yeah, but on that, yeah, there was a curling rink under there, but I don't think there's actual ice. Corey's talking in my ear. I don't think that, yeah, there isn't. Just the pipes. But I will say this on the CEBL. I mean, I don't follow the CEBL anymore. I've said it on this show because my buddy isn't the commissioner anymore, Mike Morielli, and my friend Lee Genier is not the president of the Saskatchewan team anymore. And we worked together pretty well for quite a while. And I will say this, I said, to you all, as I love how these stories all flow. The show is like a soap opera. You can't miss a couple days because you miss a lot. The one just weaves into the next episode, But I said I've had a lot of opportunities to get into basketball at this point in my life. One of those was the Canadian Elite Basketball League. Morielli, the guys with the Brad Kraft with the Rattlers, they're like, come write for us. Come work. Come call the games. I'm like, I don't know anything about basketball at all, and I'm too old to learn. The CFL thing was kind of stressful, but, Jeff, the Stamps fan, goes, it's amazing that you learned all that. In a weekend, I memorized and learned the history book, the rules, the league director. I'm not willing to do that again for basketball. And he was like, wow, I'm surprised you could retain all that. Here's a little inside thing here for you. I'm actually pretty smart. I learned this from Tiger Williams years ago. We did an event together. I'd never met Tiger before, and I was a little afraid to meet him, knowing that he's the NHL's all-time penalty minute leader. Well, wouldn't you know it, we got along thick as thieves. I was still drinking then. Our night went well into the wee hours of the morning, and I will never forget something the Tiger said to me, because I basically turned to him. You all know me well enough by now. I said, I thought you were an absolute lunatic. You're a freaking genius. And he goes, here's something. Little tip, Rod. Everybody out there is trying to tell you how smart they are. Everybody's trying to tell you how smart they are, and they're idiots. He goes, I'm going to tell you how dumb I am. It's not bad to be underestimated by people. So for me I learned that from, so I tell you all the time how dumb I am, and I probably am to be telling you this. But no, wasn't a big deal for me to go into a closet for 3 days and memorize everything there is to know about the CFL, and I don't think those new young creators are doing that. That's why I don't have a lot of time for the content, but it pops. Jeff the Stamps fan says, Wally Buono also has the most losses in CFL history. There you go. 902-518-3033. Jason in Red Deer says, I sure would have never guessed the Little General is the all-time picks leader. Again, and that was just on the fly. I remember these things. That's why we won awards for our broadcasts. Vintage Sasko writes in, he says, purely guessing, I wonder if Henry Burris ends up on the CFL on DAZN next year. His last interview on the RP show spitted out some pretty good stuff. I'm interested to get Henry on here next hour to talk about a variety of things, and this is your opportunity to ask him your questions. Get him in now if you want. 902-518-3033. Hall of Famer Henry Burris joining us next hour from NFL Radio. I saw somewhere that Henry had said, and I don't know where, I think it was when he was in Ottawa a couple of weeks ago being honored at a Red Blacks game, that he wants to get his youngest son out of high school. Am I right? I think. And which is like a year away. And then he's going to take a significant role in football operations. But he just went through the NFL media boot camp in Los Angeles. So he's suited and booted and fully trained on all the broadcast ends of this industry, which, by the way, speaking of picking things up, just so you all know, when I got my diploma with distinction in addiction awareness and human behavior. It was supposed to take 2 years, and I did it in 2 months. Is a little bit to do with the OCD that goes along with what I have, but when you're obsessed with something, it doesn't take long. Wayne in BC writes in and says, Danny Barrett is a great guy and good coach, but he just couldn't get the Riders to a Grey Cup. I think that's why he gets crap from some fans. To be honest, I wasn't even talking about the fans. I was talking about the football people. For whatever reason, they talk noise about Danny. Somebody was just talking. A good friend of mine was running him down the other day, and I just smiled and nodded. I'm like, he's in the NFL. He doesn't care about you. He's the associate head coach of the Houston Texans. He don't care what you think. That's where I bite my lip. Kirk from Toronto writes in and says, are the Hall of Famers throwing multiple picks during the playoff Grey Cup games and winning? All those guys won, Kirk. But, I mean, you can sit and argue about it all you want. We'll put it to Henry next hour, okay? Don't listen to me. I'm just a know-nothing media guy. Let's see what Henry would say about should Argos fans be upset about Chad Kelly's penchant for throwing interceptions? Because clearly the coaches aren't. They're starting him every game. But the fans are upset. Darren from Melfort writes in. He says, the only team beating Ottawa is themselves. Mic drop. And then he says, I'm on your side. I want Toronto to win just to piss off Jeff too. Well, I think if Toronto wins, that would make Jeff happy because they're playing Edmonton. But I feel you, dog. 902-518-3033. BW from... Oh, you guys are all getting into this. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, you might be gifted intellectually, Rod. No, I don't think so. No. At this stage of the game, we're just discovering that. I've been told all my whole life how stupid I am by the people closest to me. There's no way that I could be gifted intellectually. There's no way. Not after all this. No. But thanks for saying that. You guys are having your own little party over there in the YouTube chat, which is great. Listen, I'm not doing this, Jason and Red Deer. See, that's the difference. He says, I'd be curious off the top of my head if Hank knows who the all-time interception leader is. You want me to lob questions at him? There was a guy, and catch him off guard. There was a guy in Florida that I am not going to name him. We had a massive blowout a little over a year ago. He would bring me on his show and then lob trivia questions that I would have no idea what the answers were just to make me look bad on his show. How do you think that went over? I'm going to bring Henry. This ain't Stump the Schwab. Ken says, gifted enough to get that Icon Award. Well, that's the other thing, by the way. Listen, I worked there for 24 years. How long you worked where you work, Ken? I kind of need to give myself a little more credit, but I'm like, a lot of people show up for work every day over the course of 24 years. A lot of people do it a lot longer than that. So I felt a little sheepish, frankly, about winning that award. I was just doing a job. But thank you, Ken, for saying that. Jeremy in Winnipeg says there's sober stupid and then alcohol and drugs stupid. Both are interesting. Oh, yeah. Don't get me going. Don't get me. Oh, yeah. Well, I have a degree in that. So I could do hours on that. Frankly, that's one of the biggest reasons why I didn't go to Saskatoon for Game 2 last night. I had a lot of work to do here in the recovery field. People think I only work 2 hours a day. Oh, yeah, Brent says too many Mountain Dews. I was at your house, Brent, in Wellington, Florida, when I had that blow-up with that guy. Remember that? Brent from Wellington. We'll be right back with Hour 2.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
How about that?
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. We got a really big show for you today on the RP Show, welcoming viewers across Las Vegas and Nevada. Game night in Sin City in the National Football League. Henry Burris joining us as the special guest today from NFL Radio. Hall of Fame quarterback, former Chicago Bear, Green Bay Packer, NFL college coach, maybe one day in the Canadian Football League. I'll tell you this, of my many years working pro football media, if you go back to 1991, and all the guys that I've dealt with, Henry Burris is my closest friend out of all of them. And I'm so honored to have him on. Hall of Fame quarterback from NFL Radio, Henry Burris, coming up in the next segment for Prairie Panels. Let's get down to it on this Thursday. It is, by the way, episode number 1796 of the RP Show, coming to you on Silver State Sports, Game Plus streaming podcast, and WQVZ Radio, your home for sports and sports talk in West Central Georgia and Eastern Alabama. Yeah, you can see I'm fired up. I'm going to read this exactly from the Yahoo.com newsletter. I'm putting this out to you. I want Henry's take on it, and I want yours as well. And I should tell you, what are 6 preseason games in the National Football League tonight. This is what they're saying at Yahoo.com. The NFL preseason kicks off in earnest tonight. Once upon a time, that meant getting a decent look at your team's starting quarterback. Not anymore. QB1s accounted for roughly 35% of preseason passes in 2001, reflecting how starters were used at that time A series or two in the preseason opener, more in Game 2, extended action in Game 3, and then little or no action in the finale, which now, of course, there are only 3 preseason games. But that trend began to break in the 2010s when first-string quarterbacks went from throwing 33.5% of preseason passes down to 12.1% in 2019. And why am I throwing all these numbers at you? Because I'm not the biggest analytics guy, but in this case, the numbers don't lie. But the viewers were writing in because, again, this is hour 2 of the show. It's hour 1 in Las Vegas, but hour 2 everywhere else. And I talked about the quarterback matchups tonight. And the question is, how much these guys going to play? So it's Detroit at Cincinnati. And to be honest, I was pleasantly surprised at the names I saw jumping off the page. Jared Goff starting for Detroit. Joe Burrow starting for Cincinnati, which, by the way, we got a lot of things to get to with Henry. I think we're going to see Joe Burrow a lot in the preseason because the Bengals have been historic slow starters the last couple of years when he didn't play in the preseason. That's just my little pea brain running. Green Bay Packers. Brent from Wellington, Florida, your Green Bay Packers visit the Pittsburgh Steelers, but Aaron ain't playing tonight. Mason Rudolph gets the ball for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Jordan Love for the Packers. All you need is love. Indianapolis Colts will start Anthony Richardson at the New England Patriots and Drake May. Los Angeles Chargers at the Houston Texans. We were talking about the Texans last hour, and my dear friend, their associate coach, Danny Barrett. C.J. Stroud starts for the Texans tonight. Justin Herbert for the Chargers. The big game in Vegas, which we've been talking about. Kirk Cousins is going to get the ball for the Las Vegas Raiders, and why wouldn't you? Against Jacoby Brissett for Arizona. Now, it was a week ago tonight that Arizona was stunned in the Hall of Fame game. Please tell me you were watching it. A walk-off touchdown by Haynes King for the Carolina Panthers. So this is already Arizona's second game, and Carson Beck ain't going to start. Jacoby Brissett will get the ball for the Cardinals tonight at Allegiant Stadium. And starter going for Tennessee, Cam Ward, the former Miami Hurricane, up against San Francisco, and Mac Jones getting the ball for the 49ers tonight. So there were viewers writing in going, are we going to see Fernando Mendoza for the Raiders? Probably. And he said Curtis Rourke for the 49ers. I don't know about that. But I'm sitting there. Here's the thing also, by the way. So I'm in Canada for another, what's today, the 13th? I'm so bad. 18th. But another 25 more days. And don't judge me, but I have cable. And I feel like this Raiders game I see is on DAZN, which is going to be the streaming partner of the Canadian Football League beginning in 2027. They currently are for the NFL and have been for a while. I might have to break down tonight and buy DAZN to get this Raiders-Cardinals game. I don't know yet if it's going to be on TSN. My Score app didn't say that it would be on TSN. My point is TSN's going to have something. But they also have, as I'm sitting here right now, as I guess we move along to point 2, the Canadian Football League. Because we're big CFL guys, as is Henry Burris, who's joining us next. He's in the Canadian Football Hall of Fame. Henry Burris. There is a big game tonight kicking off Week 11. The BC Lions at the Calgary Stampeders. It is, the viewers are writing in saying this will decide the final playoff spot in the West. No, it won't, guys. We're not even at the halfway point of the season yet. Nothing. This all goes down to usually the penultimate weekend of the regular season to decide the spots. You know, and you don't even know what that means. Go look it up. I was bragging a little bit last hour about how little time it took me to get my post-secondary education. I'm sorry to use the $20 words on you. The next to last weekend of the regular season is when these spots get decided. Not this weekend or tonight. But if you want to think that, go ahead. Vancouver Eric writes in, he says, Anthony Richardson is the modern-day Jamarcus Russell. Well, be careful we're using that name around here. Number one. Number two, that game bears watching, though. Doesn't have a chance to start, I don't think. I mean, you understand why you know that we get the best analysts. And Henry, can you guys all remind me when Henry joins me next to ask about that? How many teams have their starter named prior to the preseason? How many teams have their starter named prior to the training camp? Steelers do. I would think the Colts do with Daniel Jones. So they don't need to play him. The Cardinals do. Most teams do, but not every team does. Hang on, I just dipped my toe into. We're talking, it's the U.S. hour, guys. Thanks for playing. Although, yeah, it was me. I brought up the Canadian Football League. You're right. It's not me. I'm sorry. Ken in Mississauga writes, and he says, it feels like this is a very important game for Edmonton. Hang on. They're all important games. I know what you're saying. Some are more important than others, but it's an 18-game season. My good and dear friend Ken Austin, not in the Canadian Football Hall of Fame, which sticks in my crop. Most recently, the offensive coordinator with Auburn, says, because I learned so much from him. I was talking hour one about what I learned from the football greats, and I mean a lot actually from the hockey people, but I don't know, the football guys seem to stick with me more because I used to make such a big deal about the week one game, the Labor Day Classic, the this, the that, and Kent's like, in our one-on-one interview, the look of just disgust in his eyes. He was like, no game is more important than the others. It would be a disservice to the other games. And Don Matthews said the same thing. If my guys are getting more fired up for this game than they were for last game, they're cheating me and they're cheating you. (902-518-3033). Brent in the Bridge City writes and he says, my Detroit Lions have named Jared Goff for this. Well, of course. I don't even know who their other quarterbacks are. That's my point. What are the teams that are still trying to decide who their number one is? I mean, Vegas has said Kirk Cousins. The question is for how long. I'm glad that they went out and I was a little Minnesota named Kyler Murray and J.J. McCarthy. Did you see the highlights, the quotes on that? He was not happy about it. But why would he be happy about it? He says, they haven't even played a game yet. And they have decided that Kyler Murray will be the starting quarterback. That's usually what the preseason is for, and that's what I'm telling you I want to ask Henry Burris about when he comes in next. The beautiful thing about Henry, of many beautiful things about Henry Burris, is that he's worked and played in the NFL, Canadian Football League, NCAA. He is fluent in many beautiful football languages. And I first began earning a paycheck in pro football in 1991 in the media. And of all the guys I've come across, thousands actually, Henry's the guy that I'm the closest to. And I'm very excited to welcome him next. So I hope I remember all these questions in my pea brain because I ain't that smart. I told you that. We've established that. Utah Darren writes in. He says, I had a football coach tell me all games are important. That's why there is only one per week. Right? Okay. Thank you, BW Edmonton. You're right. The Cleveland Browns have not named a starting quarterback. And they're not playing tonight. And we're going one day at a time. Or as Johnny Cash would say, one piece at a time. We'll worry about Friday's games on Friday. How about that? Just going around the NFL saying which teams have not decided on their starting quarterback yet, because most have, but Cleveland has not. And that would scare some teams. But if you got a lot of good options, which I think the Browns have good. I liked what Shadur did by the end of last year. I really did. Oh, man. Can we just speed up the clock and get Henry in here? Vintage Sasko writes, and he says, I'm interested in two Smokes DuPonts, Tennessee Titans versus Curtis Rourke and the 49ers tonight. Let's go. But as I said the other day, earlier this hour, Mac Jones starts tonight for the 49ers. I don't even know if Curtis Rourke plays. Carlos in Indiana pointing out that it is 1:11 Eastern. Oh, boy. And 11:11 Mountain for the live audience. WQVZ, Game Plus streaming. If you celebrate 11/11, 1/11, make a wish, as they say, and live in the end. Well, hang on. Viewer Jason says, yes, they have. The Browns said Deshaun Watson will start. I feel like that's subject to change pending preseason results. Am I right? I feel like that's not written in stone. Let me keep rolling here on. I got hung up on the National Football League. I feel like you all are okay with that. The warm-up is brought to you by our friends at Uniglobe Carefree Travel, the official and preferred travel partner of the RP Show, and the BC Lions of the CFL. When it comes to sports trips, group travel, or your next great getaway, trust the pros who handle every detail so you can enjoy the journey. Contact Neil Chark with Uniglobe Carefree Travel. Point 2. Point 3. 1 was NFL, 2 was CFL. Point 3, Kazuma Okamoto singled home Vladdy for the go-ahead run in the bottom of the 8th inning before the floodgates open as the Toronto Blue Jays topped the Boston Red Sox 6-4 for their third straight victory Wednesday. By the time this airs in Vegas, they will already have played the finale against the Red Sox, which is a matinee at Rogers Center. But the Jays, a game and a half out of a wild card spot as of this current win streak. So I'm just throwing that in there because we're the Blue Jays show, and I love them. And our baseball season ended last night. Our NCAA Summer League lost out in round 2. It's very painful. Please don't ask me about it. What you didn't. Point 4. An independent appeal board has ruled that 5 players from Canada's 2018 World Junior team acquitted last year of sexual assault breached the Hockey Canada Code of Conduct. A lot of you Nevada viewers are going, what's that got to do with us? Hang on. Hockey Canada said in a news release Wednesday that it accepted the board's recommended continued suspensions and reinstatement dates for Alex Fermenton, Cal Foote, Carter Hart of the Golden Knights, Dylan Dubé, and Michael McLeod. The 5 were acquitted in July 2025 on sexual assault charges stemming from an encounter at a 2018 Hockey Canada Gala in London, Ontario, celebrating the national junior team's World Championship gold medal. So, I was a little surprised by this. In that, our Hour 1 co-host, Kevin the Medium, I was surprised he took this side. But I'm pro player. They were acquitted. I don't even know why this is coming up now. He and I put our heads together. His term was flexing. I said Hockey Canada puffing their chest out. I mean, I did a lot of work with Hockey Canada over the years. Past life for both of us. So I'm not anti-Hockey Canada, but it was sort of like, why are you announcing this now? Why? What's the point? But there's the point. Trying to make themselves look good and make the players look bad. The point being this. Carter Hart, you were all entranced with him and the Golden Knights on their run to the Stanley Cup, 2 wins away from winning it. Carter Hart was never going to play for Team Canada ever again. It's not happening. So it's, why are you announcing a suspension? He's never going to play for you again anyways. None of those guys. So it's positioning, statement making, welcome to the world. It's not new. It just seems to stand out a hell of a lot more now. And while we're sitting here, it's funny because viewer Jason brought up yesterday the Lakers were sold for the second time in 10 months. And it's actually in my sports update I'll get to later. Nobody really cared from our audience because we're not an NBA show. But the Canadian NBA is the Canadian Elite Basketball League. The Winnipeg Sea Bears and Brampton Honey Bears Badgers had their Game 1 canceled Wednesday night because of condensation on the court at the CAA Center in Brampton. So the league has gone from a best of 3 to a best of 1. It'll be played Saturday in Winnipeg, and people are poo-pooing the league for that. I'm saying stuff happens. Henry Burris joins us next. It's brought to you by Prairie Panels. If you're building a shop, a barn, a rink, or commercial space, Prairie Panels provides high-quality insulated wall and roof panels. We'll be right back with Hank after this.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
We're back with the man of the hour. I'd read off his whole resume, but the show is only 2 hours long. NFL veteran quarterback, Canadian Football Hall of Famer, now from NFL radio, media magnate, and a variety of other things, the great Henry Burris joining us. How you doing, Hank?
Hey, Rod. How you doing, brother?
Good. The viewers are so excited to they got their questions coming out for you. I'm going to start with this. NFL preseason begins in earnest tonight, 6 games. As we get ready for the next month of this, what are the players hoping to see on the field across the league?
Well, you just want to see consistency. You want to see guys, especially when it comes to the quarterback position, who can go out there and sustain drives, execute, take good care of the football, show some command, show some leadership, put the ball in the end zone. But again, we all know the most important part of the game is taking care of the football. And again, just do what you're coached to do. You know, again, mistakes are going to happen because the other side is going to make plays as well. But just do what you're coached to do and use your God-given ability to make some plays and turn some heads. But it's all about making the coach's decision the toughest that it can be, because a lot of times the road teams will play their young guys, not so much the star players. You'll get those at the home games. But hey, some teams are making those decisions to play their main guys tonight. And it'll be good just to see those guys get some completions, get on the field, get a sustained drive, get them off the field, and let the young guys who are trying to make the club get most of the run.
I read a stat earlier on the air that in 2001, starters threw 35% of passes in the preseason. By 2019, that was down to 12%. Do you think it's going to bounce back up or continue to trend down?
I think it'll continue to trend down because everything you're getting in the preseason, it's fluff. I mean, you're getting the basics of every team's defense, from an offensive perspective, and the same thing defensively. You're going to see the same running plays, a lot of the same passing concepts. Teams are going to run that because that's a lot of the base things that teams do in today's game. Everybody runs the same plays, Rod. So a lot of it's just going to be window dressing, understanding the motions, but it's all about understanding situational awareness, making sure you're executing those situations as coach and as you rehearse and practice. You just want to make sure guys are there when their number's called, especially when substitutions are happening. Situational awareness, taking care of the football, doing what you're coaching to do, but also make those plays. Because again, if you're a young guy who's a free agent, you got to make that splash play that makes Rob Peterson go, "Holy crap, who was that kid?" You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just to be able to make the club, because at the end of the day, even if you don't make, as far as that game day roster, there is the practice roster, and there also are other teams that are looking for guys on other teams because potentially, if you do what it takes to shine, hey, and your team doesn't give you a chance, one of those other 31 teams or potentially a CFL team will give you an opportunity.
The CFL fans are dying to ask your questions, and I'll get to those. Brent in Saskatoon says, "Great to see Hank." But we're airing in Vegas. I just want to know from your learned, esteemed opinion, are the Raiders handling the Mendoza-Cousins thing properly in your mind?
Without a doubt, because you don't want to rush a young guy into the fray. I mean, into the oven. Right now, he needs to just sit on the sideline, listen to Kirk Cousins. To me, who's the prototypical guy you want to learn from, because again, he doesn't have that athletic ability that he can go out there and be that dual threat, which Mendoza does bring to the table. But he's a guy who's going to pick you apart with his mind. And there's a reason why Kirk Cousins has made a gazillion dollars as far as during his time playing in the NFL, because he has high football IQ. He's accurate as heck. He understands anticipatory throws as far as knowing when that zone's going to be there, where the options are, when to get it to your back. And these are all things that are going to make Fernando Mendoza that much better as a quarterback. I mean, you look back at the history of football and the greatest quarterbacks who played the game, from Tom Brady, as far as the NFL-wise, Tom Brady. You look at Patrick Mahomes. They were all guys who played behind somebody, learned from those veterans, and when their opportunities came, they stepped up and made it happen. Why? Because they weren't rushed into it. They were able to watch from the sidelines, get those practice roster reps, but then when their number was called, learning from the vets ahead of them, they were able to step in there and play just like guys who have been out there for the duration of the season and play with a lot of poise and composure.
One more NFL question and then to the CFL. Carlos in Indianapolis says, "Rod, yesterday you said you wanted to ask Hank for a Favre story following the interception chit-chat you had. In case you forget, tell us a Brett Favre story, Henry."
Well, for me, I mean, you talk about one of the most intense practice players ever. I mean, I remember the first day we went and had walkthrough, because typically we would have a walkthrough practice where we would just run plays on air just to get used to what our first 15 is going to be when we hit that team period against our defense. And just to run through those plays we just installed. Brett didn't even warm up, guys. He breaks the huddle. We run a play action pass. I remember Mike Sherman called it. We ran a play action pass, and he throws the post without even warming up. He launches it like 70 yards, and he turns around and goes, "Whoa, how you guys like that? There's more where that came from." You know what I mean? But just all the little things that Brett would do. I mean, he was a little country kid from Kiln, Mississippi, but, the way he competed, he reminded me so much of Jeff Garcia, because they played the game with energy, tenacity, and passion. And they were just like little kids in the park, just out there with friends having a good time. But man, when that Joker launched it, man, he was, the competitive edge that he had. You can see why so many quarterbacks behind him became so successful, because he taught you exactly how to approach and play the game.
Okay, so Kirk in Toronto, Argos fan, he's just riddled with anxiety at Chad Kelly's interceptions. And I told him to calm down. You are in the top 5 in picks all time in the CFL, as is Damon Allen, as is Anthony Calvillo. Ron Lancaster leads it, the greatest of them all. I said, don't worry, Kirk. But how do you feel about Chad Kelly's interceptions in Toronto?
Well, I think it was apt to happen, because the fact is, I mean, he had injury after injury, and he comes back, and things have changed in the league some. Each and every year they do, and people know your tendencies. And again, they're trying to bait him into some of the things that they've seen from film in the past. Now, Chad's going to have to start to make adjustments, again, not to force certain things. I know from what I'm seeing, he's got to finish throws, because there's a lot of times whenever you finish square to a throw, the ball's going to sail on you, it's going to stay to your throwing arm side. And I've seen the history of a lot of that, but also you're taking hits. You've got to have that mental fortitude to be able to step in step into each and every throw. That's what you get paid for, to have that mental toughness. You're going to take hits, and I'm sure he knows that. I mean, he's had the injury history. He's been there. He's experienced the highs and the lows, but he's got to finish his throws because right now they need him. They lean on him a lot, and he's got to play like a true veteran, especially if he wants to be that consistent tier 1 elite quarterback. To me, he's a great quarterback. He's already got a Grey Cup championship, a couple under the belt, but now he's got to go out there and do it without Dinwiddie. And the thing is, how are things going to be now? Because not only is Ryan being judged up in Ottawa, but also Chad without Ryan is being judged in Toronto. Can he get the job done?
So many fans have questions for you, and I'm going to try to get to them all, but we're all dying to get your take on the Red Blacks. You were just there. They're 0-8. They want to know if you would go work for them. Just what are you seeing with Ottawa?
Well, I mean, it's tough. It was frustrating, especially to be at that Montreal game and Jason Moss and Davis Alexander. I mean, Phil Pott, Sneed. I mean, those guys are cooking with hot grease right now. I mean, those guys are on fire. Can they sustain that in Montreal is going to be the big question. But to me, looking at talent in all three phases, yes, they can. Now, Ottawa, I mean, it's tough. I mean, they got to go to Winnipeg tomorrow, and there's a chance they could go 0-9, so far in this season. But right now, it's tough. I mean, right now, that locker room is culturally suppressed. I mean, you can definitely tell guys are down, and seeing some of the mainstays that they signed in free agency now being let go, really every player and probably all coaches and everybody, they're living on pins and needles right now because, again, we've all been a part of that at some point during our careers and lifetimes, whether you're in business or in football. But it's not a good atmosphere right now. If they can get a win, that's the biggest and best thing right now. They have to take that us against the world mentality. But this is where those guys that are your emotional leaders in the locker room need to step up and take over. Figure out ways to tap into guys so they can play together, stay together as a team, because right now trust is a big concern in that locker room because once people start seeing pieces fall around them, at times you can start to see people lose their character and get desperate, and just hopefully they've been able to overcome that and stick together as a team.
Vintage Sasko writes in and says, I am old enough to remember Henry wearing number 10 for the Riders. I don't think you spent a day wearing 10 for the Riders. You're always one.
Always one. Always one. Well,
one.
When I first the fans voted on it because I put 10 and 1 as my top two numbers, and it was overwhelming, favoring number 1. And so, the first time I stepped on the field to practice, it was numero uno all the way.
You remember my mom used to work in the Rider store, and you wore that hat backwards with the Rider logo on it? She's like, the day after Henry was on the news with that, we sold him out. I'm like, yeah, that doesn't sound. You probably didn't get any money out of that, did you, Hank?
No, none at all. None at all.
Jeremy from Winnipeg says the Chiefs are underrated. I don't agree. How about you, Hank?
Well, guys, I think my take has really surprised people. I think that the run of the Chiefs Kingdom is over. Again, they're going to compete. To me, they're still going to be, probably second place in the AFC West. But to me, those Broncos, man, they continue to retool with Jalen Waddle. And again, I know their schedule is going to be a lot tougher this year due to how they finish. But to me, every team has been stacking the deck to try to beat the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. Now, the thing is, how healthy is Patrick going to be? Is he truly going to be ready for week 1, especially coming off that knee injury he just had? Again, but every team is stacking the deck to beat these guys. And Mike McDaniels now with the Chargers, how are they going to be offensively? Is he going to continue to help take that, to evolve that team, to take it to the next level and truly continue to have their reign over the Chiefs, which they started last season? To me, it's going to be an interesting year, but to me, it all goes through the Mile High City. That team is blessed with a great defense. And to me, Bo Nix has been one of the surprises so far because people were sleeping on him. But with his age and experience he had coming from Oregon, now to be with Sean Payton, the former Rough Rider, those guys have it going on. And to me, Jalen Waddle was a great sign.
Ottawa, Rough Rider, Ottawa. I know Peyton's history.
Rough
right?
Rider.
Yeah. 2 words. Right. I got Broncos, Rams, Super Bowl. Have you got a pick?
Ooh, to me right now, again, I know everybody's jumping on the Rams bandwagon, but to me, it still goes through Seattle. I mean, to me, they're the best until somebody replaces them because even though they lost Kenneth Walker, I mean, them signing that, drafting that rookie out of Notre Dame, to me, that kid's going to be special. I mean, I think they're still going to go out there and be the best team in the West. That defense is still, to me, the best defense, if not the best, number 1 in the entire NFL. But again, Aaron Donald's coming back. We want to see where he's at because, again, you take off a year, you're not going to be the same. And again, can Myles Garrett, Puka Nacua, these guys are all injured right now. They've got some mounting injuries, especially for a team that has some aging players. And so, again, can they stay healthy? Because, again, to me, that's going to be their biggest opponent is with the age that they have currently. Can they stay healthy? If they do, oh, yeah, it's on and popping. But it's between the Rams and the Seahawks out of the West to represent the NFC in this upcoming Super Bowl.
What a division. Jeff, the Stamps fan, we spar back and forth all the time. Number one, he says, the Broncos with former Stampeder Alex Singleton. He's just Mr. Stamps, this guy. And he's begging me. He watches every day, so I appreciate him. I just poke crap at him, Henry. And he wants to know your thoughts on Dave Dickinson being 1 win away from 100. He'll be the 12th coach in CFL history to get 100 wins when he does.
One of the smartest guys I've ever met, especially his IQ and awareness of a game of football is off the charts. Just his emotional awareness, his awareness of the game, understanding X's and O's, understanding philosophies across the league as far as the coaches that he's going up against. I mean, when you talk about leadership and building the right culture to achieve success, I mean, all the obstacles that Dave was challenged with, especially being vertically challenged and people saying he couldn't do this, he couldn't do that. Dave was one of the smartest boogers out there on the field. He didn't have the strongest arm, but he always found a way to always have his team playing up top, playing for Grey Cup championships. You know, if it wasn't for the injury bug, you know what I mean, he would have won that many more games. But he's now transitioned that same mindset over, and now his teams have embraced and embodied that. And that's why they've always been a team playing with, I mean, they've got some athletes out there. They got some mongooses out there making plays in all three phases. But the one thing about that team, they don't hurt themselves with penalties. They take great care of the ball. Look at Vernon Adams with the streak that he had ongoing, but also they play smart football. And that's the reason why they're one of the best when it comes to winning the plus-minus ratio when it comes to turnovers. And that's the reason why they're going to be a team to deal with when it comes down the stretch. I'm proud of Dave, but this is something I anticipated and expected.
Yeah, of course. And by the way, you bring up his build and his brain. We were talking the other day about the list of Hall of Famers. You're one of the few built like a Greek god. If Calvillo walked into a room and Lancaster and Dave Dickinson, it's pretty average dudes. Well, we'd all know who Flutie is. But I said these guys aren't on the cover of Muscle and Fitness. You know what I mean? Up here, right? Really what gets you there?
100%, because the position of quarterback, the game is 95, 96% mental. I mean, again, if you don't have that mental fortitude, that mental toughness, you can't play this position because there's going to be some adversity when you play this game. I mean, it doesn't matter what quarterback you are, you're going to have to overcome something. There's going to be those games where you have 2 or 3 turnovers, interceptions, fumbles, etc. And you're going to have to face the crowd. You're going to have to face the music. Now, the thing is, can you get over it and be able to hit the reload button, watch film, learn, and then come back and have that fortitude to go out there and strike back, you know what I mean, be resilient and show your team that. And also face your peers as far as in the locker room. But Dave is just that type of guy. He's the type of guy who, regardless of whatever happened, he would come back with vengeance. And you know he had his teammates right there by his side. And again, that's what it takes to play this position. And before you step into that huddle, for young kids, if you take on that position, just know it's not about your physical ability. It's can you handle the game and the strain mentally to go out there and get the job done and lead a group of men over the hill to be successful to win a championship.
We've got about 3 minutes left, Mr. TV guy, so you'll get used to the timing on this talk. Ken in Mississauga would like to know your take on NIL money for quarterbacks and how crazy it's gotten.
Oh, it's ridiculous, guys. It's the wild, wild west. It's out of control. I mean, to me right now, it's coming down to the few where you have the Big Ten, the SEC, the ACC, I mean, shoot, there's no Pac-12 anymore because, you know, they've kind of scattered throughout with the rest, but you got the Big Four conferences and really it's everybody else in them. To me, it's out of control because number one thing is, yes, I thought players should have gotten money because of their name, image, and likeness being used, but there had to be some type of parameter set, some type of bar set, maybe some type of salary cap set. But to me, just giving kids that much money, to me, invest the money. Teach some financial literacy as far as how to invest your money. You know, again, to me, they're setting kids up for failure just by giving them the money. However, it's great to get the cash, but are you setting them up to be successful long-term with that money? To me, that's where the game has lost me, because now you're paying kids this type of money. What about a kid from Texas A&M coming up to the CFL? I mean, it's tough. That's a tough pill to swallow because, again, practice roster guys, walk-ons are making $30 to $60K right now with P4 programs. And I've heard that from a number of guys, like that's ridiculous because, again, I remember us going to college back in the day. I would have loved to have had that money. But again, to me, was it time for it? Yes. But is it too much right now? Yes, it is, because now the game is out of control. And to me, the passion to play the game of football and make it to the highest level and make the big money has been lost, and it's going to hurt the game forever.
Well, we only got about 2 minutes. How will that affect the CFL, do you think?
Well, I still think you'll get guys because, men, we just love playing the game of football. And again, a lot of guys do view the CFL as in two ways, because they know in comparison to the UFL, the CFL offers you an opportunity to play the game you love and have an actual career. But also they know the as far as the window of opportunity to go up into the CFL, have successful seasons, continue to get developed, and that window of opportunity is still available to transition back home and play in the NFL, as many players have done. But to me, they know you can establish yourself and have careers both on and off the field in the CFL, because again, the CFL is one of the greatest games and people love that game down here in the U.S. But again, one thing CFL teams are doing, and I love it, is the fact that, the same things that you're experiencing in colleges, getting 3 full course, homemade, hot cooked meals. CFL teams are delivering that. And again, the things that you experience in college and the NFL, the CFL teams do it too. Charter flights, food on site, having the type of culture and locker room that it's going to take to keep guys around the locker room to keep on learning and just spend more time together.
Wow. Best interview we've ever done. And we've done hundreds. Must be that media training you had. I don't know what it is, Henry, but you're one with Terry Basker at that Chinese food restaurant in Edmonton. Still number one. Still number one. But we'll get there. We'll keep striving to get there every day. Hank, thanks. Let's do it again soon. Enjoy the ball.
Hey, and Rod, and I would definitely come back to Canada. You already know that, buddy. So we'll see what happens, but we'll stay posted.
Let's talk. Exactly. The great smiling one, Henry Burris. Everybody wants them north of the border. They got to be a success no matter what he decides to do. We'll be right back. Sports Update viewer takeover the rest of the way here on the RP Show.
For a night of rock with the Gene Simmons Band.
You know your man is working hard. He's worth a team.
Saturday, December 5th, Temple Garden Center.
Now.
The Gene Simmons Band performing your favorite classic hits. Tickets on sale now at sasktix.ca. Don't miss the Gene Simmons Band.
Get ready to make unforgettable memories with your little ones at Elmo's Got the Moves, the all-new Sesame Street live show coming to your neighborhood. Friday, December 4th, Temple Garden Center. Tickets on sale now at SaskTix.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody. This ain't going to be hard filling this all the way to the top of the hour now because I have questions and comments from all of you, plus a sports update to get here right away for the Ultimate Fan Zone. But it's just interesting. Wonderful interview by Henry. The viewers are writing in saying how much they loved it. That is the best interview we've ever done. We've done hundreds of interviews over the years. He was with the Rough Riders 3.5 seasons, I think. And I was the voice of the team. But I never told you this. My mom worked in the Riders store for 6 years. Before being fired, we all eventually get fired. That's her story to tell, not mine. But anyways, she used to say, I remember those those hats, like the Payne Stewart hats. Henry wore one backwards. It was black with a Rider logo on it. And he was on the TV, Supper News, doing an interview. And the next day, Mom said, sold out, all of them. That's the way it goes here. And then I remember 2005, 5 years later, I'm at my mom and dad's house. Remember the old landlines? Phone rings. Mom picks it up in the kitchen. This is in Milestone, Saskatchewan. Mom gets it first. Hello. Hi, it's Henry Burris. Is Rod there? My mom, just one sec. Roddy! Henry's on the phone. I go pick it up in the bedroom, and I hear her. She's in the kitchen on the phone with Henry. Henry, we miss you. Now I get it. Henry's like, yeah, well, if Shiv and Danny weren't screwing me over, I'd be back. Oh, yeah. Life goes on. Everything happens for a reason. Investor Josh Kushner and former Disney boss Bob Iger are purchasing the LA Lakers for $12.5 billion from Mark Walter, who bought the controlling stake in the team from the Buss family less than a year ago, closing the deal in October at a $10 billion valuation. I know Jason and Red Deer was all over this yesterday. He's all excited about it. And I'm at a point now because the money has gotten so stupid that I really don't care. I'm interested to see where this goes in a lot of ways because the Lakers haven't been relevant in a long time. The name of the game, I think, is still winning, right? If I'm not mistaken, it's still winning. These ownership structures have changed so much. And when Jason was telling us about this yesterday, nobody cared. I didn't care. And I still don't really care, but I used to say all the time on this show, fans don't care about ownership, but you should care because that ultimately decides whether you win or lose as a team, whether you have a good owner or a bad owner. But when you got a conglomerate and these things, all of a sudden it becomes the president, you better have a good president. That's different. It's a long story. That's not what we do here. Continuing on. The Milwaukee Brewers have surged to the top of our first post-trade deadline MLB power rankings. And when I say I mean Yahoo.com. A power rankings list that remains heavily skewed towards the superior National League, which boasts 4 of the top 5 teams and 7 of the top 10. Tampa Bay is number 2 at the Yahoo.com ranking, with the LA Dodgers number 3. So how about that? My baseball season ended last night. It's just, it sucked. I thought we were going to go all the way to the league final, so I'm budgeting my time. And no, we lost out, got swept in round 2. It's a best of 3 series. Doesn't take long, but Now I'm trying to get my mind around college football. But it's just, yeah. It's going to be big. It's going to be big. I'm going to go back to Florida. And then the thing with the baseball, I mean, Blue Jays aren't going to make it. Kevin the Medium said last hour, because he's on top of this. I'll watch a little more Blue Jays baseball now because our baseball season's done. But Kevin said the analytics, 8% chance of making the playoffs. I'll believe that. That's not a lot. It's funny. Jeremy in Winnipeg, you write in, he says, Jerry Jones having the quietest offseason ever, signing Quentin Williams early. Is Jerry okay? I was thinking about that. This is scary. This is that you and I would be on the same thing. Very drama-free Cowboys camp. So maybe it actually will be different. And that reminds me, I feel like we have a lot to get to when we come back in overtime. Because I'm watching the coverage at a Dolphins camp, and those guys are all saying the right things. And I do notice the patterns in life. Talk's cheap, but what I'm hearing out of Miami sounds really good too, and maybe it actually will be different. So we have a lot to talk about when we come back for overtime on the RP show right after this.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs guy through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too. Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, Great prices and that friendly moose jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge. Big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca. Well, we aim to please here. You aim to please. I gotta make the correction for Vintage Sasko. Here's the thing about us. We don't mind admitting when we're wrong. It happens so rarely that I don't mind. But Vintage Sasko sent this in. I'll just hold it right. There's Henry Burris wearing a number 10 jersey for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Even Hank forgot that he wore number 10, I guess. So thank you, Vintage Sasko. We stand corrected. Overtime is brought to you by Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, where skill and fun collide. We'll be live there next Wednesday with Stanley Cup champion Colin Pedersen joining us. That'll be big fun. Speaking of making corrections, I'll say that I haven't talked about it a lot today because our baseball season ended last night, but this is where everything's up for grabs. And one of our players, Ben Wolochuk from Wichita, Kansas, I was reading a stat sheet, and I said, there's only one player played every game this season for the Moose Jaw Millers, Thomas Soto from Round Rock, Texas. His family wrote me from Wichita. Ben played every inning, every game, all season. And the season ended last night, and they interviewed Ben, and he's just a young man. He's going to go through a lot, like we all have. I watched that interview. He choked up. I'm tearing up. I'm like, oh, my God. And I think I was saying this yesterday. His family wrote me. They said, you ever come through Wichita, we got you. I feel like I will end up going through Wichita at some point. I've never have. Never been to Kansas, but it seems like a very interesting town. I said that feels like everybody knows each other there is the sense that I get of Wichita, Kansas. I got to see the Wolochuk family. Most famous people from Wichita, Kansas. Kirstie Alley. Look it up. Don Johnson from Miami Vice fame. And one of my favorite all-time movies, Harley Davidson and the Marlboro Man. I feel like Vintage Sasko, you would like that movie, Harley Davidson and the Marlboro Man, with Mickey Rourke screwing his face up with plastic surgery. Joe Walsh from the Eagles. Barry Sanders. Some very weird alignment going on here right now. Is it 111? I was talking about ownership earlier, and Brent from the Bridge City writes in and says, where the hell is it? Brent from the Bridge City. He goes, you're right, Rod. Sheila Ford has made all the difference. The owner of the Detroit Lions. Barry Sanders, Wichita, Kansas, Detroit Lions. That very same Brent writes in, he says, I always appreciate your hard work and efforts to bring us a great show, Rod. I really enjoy Henry being on. A great gentleman. Thank you so much, and have a great day, Rod. Thank you, Brent. I appreciate you tuning in because, you can just go on the air and talk. A lot of guys do. We try and back it up a little bit with facts, some entertainment, and all the rest. Did you delete your comment, Brent from the Bridge City, about Sheila Ford? Because I can't find it here. BW writes in and says, I heard that the BC Lions are giving away free tickets if you have not been to a regular season game since 2019 in a way to fill the stadium again and get a younger crowd. I saw that. That's all over social media. Giving away free tickets is it's a curious vintage hack. I had to look that term up. I just learned it from Janice Taylor the other day. Vintage hack. What's that? I feel like being old, I should know that. Jeremy from Winnipeg says, if you go to Kansas, you may as well go to Arrowhead Stadium. Ha, ha, ha. I had a friend who scouted for the Rough Riders, Curtis Mullen. You might be watching right now. He was always trying to get me to go to Kansas City to a game, and I'm like, never really appealed to me. But as I said, I was telling the story earlier about Dan Goodspeed, former offensive lineman, Super Bowl winning offensive lineman of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He played with us in Sask. He's like, if you're ever in Florida, look me up. I'm never going to be in Florida. a year and a half later, I was. And I looked him up. He was the featured alumni for the Buccaneers game that night. I'm getting better with this, but I'm still not that good with it. I said, he brought me down on the field with him. I have photos. It was right around the time I started taking photos of everything because I'm like, people will not believe my life if I don't have photographic evidence. So Goody brings me down on the field at Raymond James Stadium. And I'm like, no offense, Goody, but you were like the 5th string backup offensive lineman on that 03 Buccaneers team. Why are they honoring you? And he was like, there's no alumni lives here. He's like, at that time, he's like, John Gruden won't come anywhere near the stadium. He's fighting with the owners. Brad Johnson was our quarterback. Nobody could pick him out of a lineup. Rondé Barber lived there. Mike Allstott, and that was about it. He goes, and they just rotate us all for the featured alumni. I found that mind-blowing. But it's very similar with that with the Panthers in South Florida. Same thing. Thank you, John Ohm. He says, great interview with Hank. It was good. So I always said about the games when I called them, what a great broadcast. It was the game. Wasn't me. Henry has made this just a top shelf show. We're going to do it tomorrow with Kevin the Medium. And I'm guessing Mike Davis from the Vegas Nighthawks. I haven't talked to that cowboy in a while. Are we out of here? Oh, we still got one more time. Okay, one more minute. Okay. So now would be a perfect time to implore you to give us a follow on our social media channels, at The Rod Pedersen Show on Instagram, at Rod Pedersen Show on Twitter. Joe does a great job on the TikTok and all the rest that I don't even have an account, but Joe does. So if you do, look us up on there. All the best clips and highlights are on there. And enjoy the NFL games tonight, the CFL games tonight. Leading the way, not shocking on our poll. What are you going to be watching tonight? Leading is CFL. Next is both. And you can put me in that category. We'll talk about it all again tomorrow. Live at noon Eastern, 10 a.m. Mountain, in prime time here in Vegas on Silver State Sports, podcast, Game Plus streaming, and WQVZ radio.
Good.